Wow.
I did not expect that.
I don't think anybody expected that. So, mad respect going out to Mad Life on the other side.
Wow.
That's
so
really bizarre.
Maybe they didn't want to ban a jungler early to prevent the jungle pool from being pinched. They are, of course, going to ban Italy.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that Bengi, in his entire career, has never played a professional game in Italy. So he is never going to play it. I think we can safely assume at this point, especially when it is and has been the most powerful jungler, arguably, of this entire year.
It's not his style.
So I assume we'll see Nidalee and Kindred banned, and then they'll leave Graves up, which Bengi did play not well, I will say, but he did play it. And in fact, the Kindred is going to be banned by CJ Entus. So we are now guaranteed, unless SKT bans both of the last remaining junglers in Elise and Rek'Sai, but instead it will be a Zed ban, of course, targeted
at BDD.
At BDD.
Not looking to blind pick mid into that.
Well,
no, the performances we saw from him on Zed weren't exactly stellar, but still better safe than sorry here from the side of SKTelecom.
I mean, I've seen his solo queue highlights on Zed, and it's pretty damn scary. So it will be an Echo ban. So this means that we could see perhaps an Azir first pick here, because Rek'Sai and Elise are both still available, which is not going to put that same level of priority on the jungle position, but also possible to just take the Rek'Sai right away, and it will be the Azir.
Okay, so Azir for Faker. Not sure how much longer we're going to be seeing this one, what with the 6.11 match changes.
I saw that today.
He is getting dumpstered.
I poured a 40 out on the curb for Azir after that. Kilios. He's not coming back from that one. Rip homie Azir.
He is going to be gone for good, it seems, until they buff him out of proportion again at some point down the line when everybody says, well, what the heck, Azir's no good anymore, I can't play this guy. And then they overhaul him, and then he just becomes the new Cassidon.
So Lucian is available. They are going to be putting Kramer on that early game, very powerful AD carry, as long as he doesn't build him Essence Reaver, which I would not recommend doing. It doesn't really play to his strengths.
I mean, and this makes perfect sense, at least for Kramer. This was, if I'm correct, his most played AD carry, at least in round 2, or close to it. He did play this a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Ezreal his most played.
Yeah,
but,
I think it was probably Ezreal,
I think
but
Lucian was a
check on
close second. But yeah, like you said, definitely don't want to go for that Essence Reaver build right now, since the Youmuu's Black Cleaver is just so stupid at the moment. But right back over to SKTelecom, Rek'Sai for Bengi. So far SKT getting a lot of what they want, including Ezreal for Bang.
Yeah, so taking the Ezreal, probably looking at a lane swap here for SKTelecom in that case. Dodging that heavy armor pen versus the tier matchup in the early phases of the game. CJ, see what they go for here. The Zed ban with the Azir first pick makes sense. Of course, you get to eliminate a possible lane counter for BDD, and you take away BDD's sort of staple champion that we saw for a lot of the spring season. Now, they could go for the Varus or the LeBlanc. Varus, good matchup into Azir generally. You can poke very efficiently from range.
Yeah, we've seen how successful Varus has been just the last couple matches here at the LCK, so could be a pickup. You can see now the hover coming in for BDD. Very well could be the lock-in, but now looking like they're just going to go for the support, so it's going to be the Nami for Mad Life and Maokai for Untara.
Mad Life, a player who really has been playing mostly melee supports. Alistar falling surprisingly far through this draft. Wolf could be going for that Zyra. We did see a Zyra game previously.
Could be picked up, looking for the support and the top at the moment. Tarek would be a pretty strong pickup, and it's actually going to be Soraka, so matching range for range. And we've seen Wolf play this, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, the Soraka Trundle taking that pick for Duke yet again into the Maokai matchup. SKTelecom setting up for a pretty standard 4-1 push composition here. They've got a lot of poke with the Azir and the Ezreal, and then easily able to kite out the members of CJ Entus, especially with all the sustain they're going to be getting from the Soraka, and Duke should be able to take that 1v1 pretty easily versus Maokai. And CJ may be looking to set up a poke composition of their own, but they don't really have a lot of threat, and all things being even, if we take a look at this coming into the late game, basically you can sort of cancel out the Varus Lucian versus the Azir Ezreal in terms of pushing potential and poke potential, and SKTelecom is still going to have a huge advantage in the 1v1 of Maokai. I would suggest, honestly, taking a split-pushing mid laner with teleport in this case instead of the Varus. But the Lucian not so great for the mid lane wave clear, besides the ultimate either. So I think they sort of wrapped themselves into a corner here, did CJ Entus.
Yeah, they didn't hear you telling them what to pick, so you're going to have to talk a little bit louder next time, I guess.
Well, see, the problem, Achilleos, is that because they already committed to the Lucian, instead of something like a Caitlyn or a Sivir, they had to have some other form of wave clear to deal with the Azir and Ezreal sieging pressure. So that meant that they decided to go with the Varus, but then they're pretty much guaranteed a losing 1v1 unless they shut the Trundle down super early, which is not something that I have a lot of faith in CJ to be able to do.
Yeah, not going to be very easy, especially as we get further into the mid game. That Trundle's going to be almost unkillable with a Soraka backing him up as well. Duke could completely run rampant all over the piece of CJ Entus in this match.
Yeah, I think this is going to be quite rough for CJ. They don't really have a lot of ways besides simply mechanically outplaying their opponents, which when we talk about SKTelecom doesn't happen too often because they don't have a clear-cut strategy that is going to be able to handle exactly what SKTelecom is going to be able to throw at them in terms of pressure. Like I said, the four-man groups should pretty much counteract each other, and then Trundle will easily win that 1v1 and start pushing down objectives and out-dueling Untara. So they're going to have to come in with some pretty spectacular TP flanks, I think, from Maokai, and then abusing the faster TP to get a 5v4.
Well, we'll see if they can also get that 2v2 in the start, but let's go ahead and get straight into game one. SKTelecom versus CJ Entus. Looks like Mountain Drake going to kick things off for us.
Cheers for Bengi.
So pretty split crowd. CJ fans and the SKT fans all very much have come out to play tonight.
So Kramer is going to get poked out with a Mystic shot pretty early on. They may just take this matchup with a Soraka sustain, however. Nami not going to be too much of a threat early. Now, if they do get standard lanes for CJ, one way that they could win this game is if they really put a lot of pressure on in the early game and actually start taking turrets and accelerating against the Ezreal, just abuse his weak phase with the tier when you start to get that Ghost Blade for the Lucian. And a lane swap early is not really going to make that big of a difference for CJ because the idea is that this matchup really starts tilting when you go back for that first buy. When you get the Dirk and then a tier, that's when it starts to get a little bit rough for Ezreal when it comes to trading. So if you can then swap back into a 2v2, you may feel pretty comfortable with that. And you do have some good ways to gank if you're CJ Entus. Elise and Maokai. Going to be very strong when it comes to chaining that CC. Same thing once BDD hits level 6 with the Chain of Corruption at least. Although Faker does have cleanse, but I think CJ's best chance lies in simply snowballing a laning phase here.
See though, Mad Life, of course, just gonna roam into the jungle and try to harass Bengi and go for a miracle steal over on this wolf. Looks like they might just turn straight onto the Soraka though. The exhaust gonna come across. He flashes away and will get him to safety, but it's a little bit too ham there. Mad Life's going to lose both of his summoners for that.
Well, he's probably not going to need them before they come back up anyway, realistically. Untara did come into lane and get a little bit of that CS, so at least he got something in that scenario. Wolf later on the harassment right here, and it will be slightly less annoying. Push has been delayed in that bottom side, though, as you can see. SKT will be... it looks like it's actually going to be about even as that wave moves forward on the bottom side of the map. So both teams looking for a third wave push right here alongside that cannon wave.
And Maokai just roaming his way up there. Duke already with his squad on the bottom side. So he's going to go for that regular old tower swap.
So it'll be interesting to see how exactly CJ is going to respond to this. Bengi with an early recall, actually. He may just head straight over to the Dragon afterwards and try and take that as soon as the tower dies.
Yeah. Just about to mention that. Not sure when we're going to be seeing either of these teams going straight for that, because it is the Mountain Drake. So getting that early is going to be much more important than if it was something like a Cloud or an Ocean Drake.
Yeah, he's heading into the bottom lane right now. And it looks like it won't be. He's going straight for the Krugs instead. And this may give an opportunity for CJ to actually get a Drake for free. Some really awkward pathing from Bengi that's going on right now. He just walked into the bottom side, didn't take the Krugs, and is now heading into the top side of the jungle.
I think he's trying to interrupt this blue buff take that's coming out. He will be able to find Haru there.
Yeah, does see it. Haru has smite, does smite it away.
Yeah, it does take it. So
that's a lot of wasted time from Bengi, and he finds himself about 8 CS behind, or 10 CS behind. He did get a CS from that ward, but that doesn't really factor into how well he's doing in the jungle. Bit of a weird decision there from Bengi, maybe a bit rusty.
Yeah, we got to give him some benefit of the doubt. It's been a little while since he's done this. He's like the grandfather from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He's been in that bed for so long. He finally got out. He needs a little bit of time before he can walk again.
Yeah, he may. He did get harassed early, which caused that early recall, but still a little bit awkward there in the old jungle. And SKTelecom just matching the push of CJ in that bottom lane. Faker and BDD just trading blow for blow here in the mid lane. Pretty much what we expect out of this matchup. A lot of farm, a lot of poke, not a lot of kill pressure pre-6.
Yeah. Haru just inching out a little bit ahead as far as the CS goes because of that awkward pathing by Bengi, not able to get to the blue buff in time. But it's going to be down to who can start applying pressure in and around this mid lane first. You see BDD is taking a good amount of harassment from Faker in the mid. Already gone through all of those charges of his corrupting potion. To stick in here. And now both sides going on to the towers. These are going to go down at relatively the same time. Looks like SKT got a little bit of an earlier start on it, but tempo otherwise not going to be changed very much.
BD is leaving the mid lane right now, though. That may mean a bit of a delayed or possible non-break start here from CJ Entus, because this is going to give them time to recall and sort of get back at the same time that BDD does, which means that they may actually have some competition for the Drake, and they are pinging onto it right now. Now, Bengi is not there. He's only level 4, so he won't have his ult to go back. And it looks like CJ don't have pressure in mid, but with Faker recalling, SKT just going to give this one up.
All right. So first Drake, going to go over to CJ. Rough one to have to surrender if you're SKTelecom.
Yeah, especially the Ferris being able to take down turrets and see through that double AD carry composition is going to be quite nice for CJ. Where it finally goes down in that bottom side a little bit late. So looks like SKTelecom's plan, though, is they say, all right, we're going to ignore this early Dragon. We don't care about this. What we care about is getting Duke ahead. And you can see Duke right now did, because of the faster tempo for SKT, and the fact that Bang and Wolf recalled immediately to zone Untara off the wave, means that Duke has been free farming in the top side. And this is smart. You can see Duke already up a level, already up 11 CS, and it's ultimately just playing better to their win condition. They know they don't need to get these early Dragons. It's not necessary to their team composition, but what is ultimately just holding the 4-man core of CJ there while Duke split pushes.
Yeah, we can see Duke going for that cull, so more than happy to just soak that CS by himself up at the top side. Get him a nice little boost of gold once he completes stacking that to 100. And then he'll probably draw out something along the lines of the team. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, as far as items goes, we see a Seeker's Arm Guard coming in early from Faker. So going a more defensive route to start things. Not necessarily just going to go straight for, the Stinger like we see from a lot of different Azir players.
Yeah, Duke going to take this opportunity to recall as the wave pushes up. We'll have to see how much farm Untara is going to get out of this. They are pushing it very quickly with the True Shot Barrage now. They may try a dive this. It would be really hard with a Cull and a Tier to kill him with a Soraka.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and have Bengi back off and take out the Gromp while they just get some chip damage in onto this tower. You can see Duke is already going to meet that wave up at the top side, so they won't take nearly as much damage.
They've denied so much gold from Antara, though. Just
Yeah.
constantly harassing him when he tries to move forward, threatening the silence.
Yeah, the sustain from that Nami not going to be nearly as reliable as the sustain from Wolf Soraka. You can see they're just more than happy to sit this far forward.
And look at Duke right now. We saw Kramer just leave that lane and give Duke this very long lane to push down. SKT denied a huge amount of gold in that wave from Antara, and now Duke already has a Tiamat, and this is going so well for SKTelecom so far. I love their game plan. Not afraid to give up the first Drake. Go ahead and just focus all of that farm onto Duke. Get him those levels. Get him twice as much CS as Antara, and then play for a late game split push.
Yeah. Second Drake, though, not really going to be something they want to give up. We did see a little bit earlier on the screen that it will be the Infernal to follow up. So right off the bat, we're going to get the two strongest, or at least potentially strongest Drakes on paper right onto the map for these guys to fight over. So SKTelecom more than likely going to be looking to contest that one, not give it up for free.
Maybe a bit difficult, though. CJ has all of that arm penetration right now, and Duke is itemized for damage. Tankiness is limited, so CJ definitely with a bit of an early game advantage when it comes to poking and making use of the armor penetration quickly. See Faker going for that early Seeker's arm guard, in fact.
Yeah. And he also, on his second back, he got the Sorcerer Shoes completed here. So second buy for him.
Interesting to go for the magic penetration so early. It's not something we generally see. Speaking of things we don't generally see, Achilles, how about Bengi?
That's a very good point. We do not see him very often.
Well, we also don't see this build very often, which is Blue Smite into Sightstone before finishing the Cinder Hulk. So that is pretty trademark Bengi, though.
Yep.
Vision first.
Well, keeping things consistent. Says, you know what? I've been gone for however many months it's been, since January or February. Was it February?
February 20th.
February 20th. But things will stay the same for him. He stopped playing 2 days before I got to Korea.
Oh, so how's it feel casting your first Bengi game, Achilles?
It's great. I've only got a few more of the former world champions to check off my list. Impact being one of them.
All right, well, we're sending you to NALCS then.
Well, please no. No, wait a second. Can we talk about this?
Nope, you're being deported. Sorry.
Oh, but I didn't even do anything to the Korean government. It's upset them. Well, my night just got really bad. How about your guys'?
Oh, man. Well, Duke here, what to say about this? 30 CS, 2 levels, absolute nightmare scenario for CJ. Tara got denied very hard.
Yeah.
Kramer misplayed the map. He pushed the wave into the tier 2 and then recalled and went after the wave had already melted in that bottom side, so they were just harassed out by Ezreal and Soraka. SKTelecom certainly looking on point, and with this kind of advantage on a Trundle, against the team composition that CJ has, there are very, very few ways for them to win this game, barring some sort of colossal error from SKTelecom.
Yeah. And that's that's a good way to kick things off here for their first game of the summer split, because not just not even next week, at the end of this week they play against KT Rolster. And KT's look a little bit shaky in that game against Longshu the other day, but still found the win. CJ, of course, had been fumbling a little bit, so this is like a good little practice starter game to maybe get them ready for that telecom war.
I don't even know what to think about KT anymore, Achilles. They're the team you can't count out, because this year they've come from so many behind in so many deficit situations. They've come from 3 inhibitor down on multiple occasions this year, and yet they still manage to look shaky in the early and mid game. Sometimes they make really bizarre decisions, and then other times they play the Zillion, Kindred, Taric, Nobody Dies composition, Echo 2, that it must be one of the most annoying team comps to play against in League of Legends, and they make it work. So they have their own little private playbook of strategies that no one else really uses.
Yeah, including setting the Johnny in the face check and get him killed. Haru, though, almost getting served up on a plate for SKTelecom. He walks over to look at that Drake. Bengi, though, now just going to say, you know what, maybe I can get in here and steal away this blue buff spike getting ready to come off. Looks like CJ might just
Duke's already
have,
here.
yeah, Duke is already down here in Tara, not using the TP quite just yet. Looks like SKT will be able to force their way in and pick up this blue buff for Faker unless a steal can come through. It's not going to happen though. It's blue buff over to him, and that's going to be the Infernal Drake over to SKTelecom.
Oh my, this is just so bad. The fact that Duke is already so far ahead and now he has another 8% damage to add to his repertoire in this split push just adds insult to injury to what's happening to CJ right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. Now CJ, they have to use this teleport. They have to find a way to start creating picks, to start getting team fights. They have to get into the back line and make something happen. But Maokai isn't very well equipped to deal with either Ezreal or Azir.
He's got Swifties.
Well, Ezreal can simply arcane shift away, and Faker will just use his ultimate and get him out of there. It's not great ways for a Maokai to engage onto these particular backline champions.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough spot.
Now, if SKT had the Varus instead, yeah, then we can start talking about good champions to engage on. If they had a Jhin or a Caitlyn, these are all excellent for a Maokai to deal with in a team fight, but not so much the Ezreal or the Azir, particularly with the Soraka too.
Yeah. Has that old personal little heal bot hovering around. See a big wave though building up in this bottom side. It's got Bengi's attention. He's starting to rotate down the bottom now. But Bengi's going to use the True Shot Barrage. Try to push CJ back. Doesn't look like they want to go for much of an engage down here quite just yet.
Yeah, Bang actually delaying his Iceborne Gauntlet quite a ways, not even going for a Sheen here. He went for about the greediest Ezreal build you could go for.
He's just
Tear into Cull, into Manamune. Are you kidding me, Bang? You should not be able to get away with this, but this just says that SKTelecom knows that CJ is just not going to do anything in the early game.
Yeah.
If you know your enemy's not going to play for the, just go and pull the trigger, why not just be as greedy as possible? Ezreal, sure, he'll be ramping quicker with this, but he should be extremely vulnerable to this Lucian, and there just hasn't been any punishment. He's ahead in CS. Everything's going well for SKT, and CJ is just doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yep. It's also going to be Ocean Drake as our third final element. Well, not that ocean is really an element, but water. Our final element.
I like how they call them elemental drakes, and then
they just use weird identifiers for them, like Cloud Drake.
I'm sorry, wind is not an element either. Or cloud, that's right, Cloud Drake. What the hell? No, not elemental at all.
Clouds also don't really go fast. Bang gonna use the heal, has to burn the flash as well to get away from Kramer.
Well, finally somebody punished him for something to do with his build, right? But not a whole lot there. Get a summoner, two summoners out, get the heal too. Not a bad play there from Kramer playing more aggressively.
Yep. Oh, Mad Life though.
Nice bubble.
Taking a bunch of damage, keeps himself alive with that bubble as you mentioned, and Faker's not going to be able to continue the aggression, but that's what happens when you're level 11 and you decide to just stab the Nami a couple times, who's less than half of yours.
This is so bad for CJ. I keep coming back to that, but this is like the worst possible situation that CJ has gotten themselves into.
Yeah, not to mention even just BDD in the mid lane falling behind in CS. He's down by about 12 right now with the Varus, who's a very safe farmer with this line wave clear.
Haru just hasn't done anything. Look at the lanes he has to gank for here. There's follow-up chain CC in each of his lanes. Cocoon into Bubble, Chain of Corruption, Twisted Advance, like, he can go, it's a jungler's playground right now, and he hasn't been able to find any angles onto anybody to pick up kills, and he's the one who has to snowball this game for CJ.
I mean, he's got a CS lead over Bengi. That's got to count for something, right?
Yeah, because CS on Elise really useful.
All right.
Yeah. The whole thing about Elise in the late game, right, is that Elise is one of the worst late game junglers because she doesn't offer the same level of crowd control or damage that a lot of the other meta junglers do.
Yeah.
Not even the same level of utility as a Rek'Sai. So the whole point of Elise is not to farm, but to make plays and snowball your lanes.
You're right. Still deserves to be mentioned.
If he's going to do this, you might as well just play Graves.
Looks like things have slowed down a little bit as CJ are maybe looking for a pick. Not going to find one though, as Bengi does ward over the wall, so we won't be seeing those chains of corruption shot out by BDD. And I mean, Dragon spawning at a minute 25 is just an Ocean Drake, not necessarily something to be hard fought over necessarily, you know.
I think the Ocean Drake is very powerful considering the amount of
Oh,
poke these team has.
speaking of powerful,
Oh my.
Faker, really powerful, goes in, almost takes out Mad Life, forces both of the summoners out, and that's going to be a canceled TP by Untara as well. So Faker goes in, and he walks away with burning 3 summoner spells.
Wow, he didn't even go for the Emperor's Divide right there. He simply just got the summoner spells out, now increasing their pressure on this
taking
siege.
a lot. That's going to be the tsunami coming through. Faker gets popped up, taking a lot of damage from Haru, actually. Piercing arrow comes through, Faker dashes away. That's going to be the Destiny out from Wolf, keeping him alive. Should be the disengage, but SKT maybe just playing a little too far forward there, not respecting the ultimate from BDD. And Faker almost pays the ultimate price.
Yeah, so nice turnaround there from CJ. Mad Life sticking around and delivering a great tidal wave after BDD's Chain of Corruption. Duke still on the split push mission though. All SKTelecom has to do is hold. The Ocean Drake is useful here because of the amount of poke that each team has.
Sure. Having
Having that little extra bit of sustain and a long-term siege can make a big difference in which team can get an objective or not. But SKTelecom just holding firm. Duke did burn and cancel his TP in that little team fight too, but otherwise just swapped lanes. And is now pushing that wave back yet again. 50 CS up. Ravenous Hydra complete. Building a little bit tanky with that Spectre Scowl. Faker starting to build some attack speed now that he has finished the arm guard, so not going to go ahead and be ultra cautious and pick up that Sonya's Hourglass immediately, which wouldn't be the greatest build on Azir, especially if you need a wave clear, which he does.
Well, we see that's going to be the Ocean Drake going over to SKT. CJ just not in any position to really try to contest that.
That's just more sustain too. You got the Soraka and the Ocean Drake now.
God.
And the Rek'Sai passive, healing her up on this jungle run. And Rek'Sai will just be constantly healing throughout the jungle pathing from the Ocean Drake. It's not a great situation. Bengi basically never has to go back now except when he wants to buy.
And Kramer hasn't really been able to do anything either. He's pretty much even in CS compared to Bang. And trying to finish out that Black Cleaver, but we can see he's just a ways off from it. Meanwhile, Bang already finished the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Manamune, which is now stacking up. So that's going to be a pretty significant advantage over to this Ezreal. Kramer just not been in a position to, try to pick any fights with anybody and use that Youmuu's Ghost Wind and start shredding through people.
Well, he's losing his opportunity too, because now Duke is starting to build armor with that Glacial Shroud. I don't know, he's probably just going to go for an Iceborne, but oh my.
He's going to go for killing the hell out of Haru.
I mean, nobody can stop him at this point.
Yeah. It's over now.
Yeah, sleep, CJ. It's over. It's all over.
The nightmare will end shortly.
Well, I feel that their draft wasn't very strong against what SKT threw at them. They didn't really even give themselves the tools to answer outside of an early game snowball, and because they're CJ, they didn't make any plays in the early game, and they misplayed their wave management around their top laner, sending Untara to this hole that he is now in when it comes to farm and levels, and there's basically nothing they can do. So they got outplayed in the draft, they got outplayed in the macro game early, and when it came to the minion wave management, and that's why we're in this situation.
Okay, well, they're going to go for this. It's completely blind on the side of CJ. They have no idea that's going to be the Strangler coming out. So now they spot it, but this thing is already below 4,000 HP. Haru has to try to go in for the steal. Can he land it? It's not going to happen. It's confirmed by Bang, actually, taking away the Baron, and CJ can't even collapse. So 21.5-minute Baron for SKTelecom.
I mean, Bengi didn't even smite right there, so that was a little weird, but...
gotta shake the rust off, Gonna give him a little bit of time.
Haru was the
Pathing's
one.
rough, smiting's rough.
Haru was the one who hit the smite, and then Bang actually ended up taking that Baron. Interesting. Well, SKT gets lucky right there that they didn't just get that stolen from them. That could have been a huge turning point in a game that they had effectively won. They didn't even have to go for the Baron right there. I think, in my opinion, that was actually pretty greedy on their behalf. They were already going to be able to split push with Trundle and take objectives. You don't need to take a 50-50 Baron like that. That's just sloppy.
They just said, screw it. We have the Azir, we have the tanky front line. Let's just go for it. But
plays like that make me nauseous, Achilles.
I can imagine. Tara's probably feeling pretty nauseous as well, as he's just getting crap kicked out of him at the moment. You see the tidal waves coming through. Will catch Bengi, and flashboard comes through as he tries to lock him up. He tries to flash away as well. Can he get into a tunnel? It's not going to happen. He goes down, so really aggressive play by Bengi and Duke, and they're going to lose one of the members off that. So one less Baron buff to deal with for CJ.
Well, I don't know why they're invading the jungle that deep when Faker isn't even a lane right now.
If you find the Nami or the Varus, it's okay, but if you find the Maokai in the jungle, maybe don't go
Duke could definitely kill the Maokai, but when you don't have anybody that can help collapse right there, in case they all happen to show up, that's when the real problem begins.
Yeah.
Also remember,
that far in the jungle.
Duke doesn't have a lot of armor.
Oh.
Nice chain of corruption.
Oh yeah, Bang getting locked up. Heals coming through from Wolf, trying to keep him alive, but Intara's coming around the backside. Meanwhile, Duke is just keeping 3 members busy, almost taking down Haru. One more hit with Duke, flashes forward for the jump, and he's gonna find the kill, turning that one completely on its head. Intara just not able to do anything with that flank TP.
And this is exactly the problem, right? Maokai and this chain
they're just gonna go. Goodbye, Mad Life.
That was a dead fish. But in any case, this is the problem, is that they can hit some of these CC abilities, but the kiting and the sustain is so huge for SKTelecom that it's just easy for them to back off, especially when they're 7K.
Oh, Baker's going in, big flashes and knocks back 2 people with the Embers of Fire. They're going to find BDD, and Utara is going to follow suit, and Baker with the big play underneath the inhibitor tower, finding 2 and taking down this inhibitor to boot. SKTelecom, good lord, welcome back to the LCK.
That was an amazing play by Faker, coming in there, knowing that he was going to be able to dive that turret onto 2 members, one of which was a Maokai, and be able to secure that kill. He had a Zhonya's right afterwards, just pushing them right in Bang's face to finish off, and that is just dominant. We're going to take a look at this team fight again, and they hit Bang, but the Chain of Corruption doesn't land until after his Arcane Shift goes through. And Bang right here is going to get Twisted Advance, but there's just not enough damage to take him out. He's easily able to get that Arcane Shift up again, and Duke is such a monster right now. There's nothing that can stop him in that front line. And now that the QSS doesn't cleanse the Trundle ult anymore, Maokai is forever at a disadvantage. It's why we've seen a lot of Trundle bans this season. There's no way to itemize against the Subjugate any longer.
Yeah.
I want to see that sweet Faker play.
Yeah, I want to see. He came in from so far away with the shifting sands to make that play happen. That was gorgeous play by Faker. As we come to this one.
Especially on this Azir, he's really progressed nicely on this particular champion.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can see a fight going out here.
I mean, you can't kill Duke.
Yeah, he's just eating up all that damage. Meanwhile, Kramer, one last auto attack's gonna find him, and Bang is just 1v2ing the carries of CJ. Now Duke says, I want a chunk of that action, comes in with a jump, and takes down BDD. And this is where you slash FF, right? If you're CJ, you just throw in the towel. Duke just doesn't care at this point. He's like, yo, I'll eat a tree.
Well,
takes a bite out of Ventari yet again, and he goes down.
Oh, Kilios. Based on how that early game went, it was very clear that this was going to snowball out of control for SKTelecom quickly. There were not any strategic answers for CJ.
Yep, no, Baker's not, he's not dead yet. Oh, whiffs the Emperor's Divide. We'll ignore that one because he still gets the kill. Just one more to pad the stats, 9-1. A massive gold lead and a sub 27-minute win for SKTelecom. A great way to enter the summer split.
Yeah, absolutely. SKT, they didn't really change up their strategy from MSI, except for the fact that Rek'Sai has now been joining their team compositions where she wasn't before. And Bengi did look a bit rusty at times during this game, but did his job, got that vision down, played well around the split-pushing Trundle, and that allowed Duke to get that just colossal advantage in the 1v1. There he is, Duke. Good job, Duke.
That was a dirty, dirty scoreline. He almost did as much damage as BDD's Varus.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually.
That's really good. He was shy by 33 damage, as you guys can see now on your screen there. Faker, though, completely running away with the top prize. almost reaching 16,000 damage in that 27-minute match.
And there's got to be something CJ can do. They have to break themselves out of this funk where they can't play aggressively at all or make any plays in the early game. And at this point, I think you have to go back to the Alistar for Mad Life, something that Mad Life can be the one who sets up the plays like we saw last season. And if that means early teleports into the bottom side like they used to do to set up Untara to get those kills, then so be it.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that you had some interest in their draft. Nami, of course, being a range support for Mad Life, and he has been playing a hell of a lot of melee ones, so maybe we'll see those switch rounds coming in. Maybe we'll see something like that Caitlyn or Sivir coming through for Kramer. That way BDD can be on that split push mid laner with teleport instead of Varus, which did not take off at all in this game.
Yeah. Rough times. Well, SKT played those minion waves so well to give that Duke that advantage. And we'll see if Bengi's going to stick around here for game number 2.
That we will. I mean, decent performance, but we'll see when we come back. Game 2, SKT looking for the 2-0, their first game back in the summer split.